What's going on, guys? My name is Rising, and welcome back to another gun guide for Call of Duty Mobile. In this series, we'll be focusing on in-depth breakdowns, tips, builds, and class setups for every single weapon in Call of Duty Mobile's multiplayer. Continuing with our guides for the buffed weapons of Season 8, today we'll be covering the most controversial weapon for the season, which is the Chicom submachine gun. First appeared in Black Ops 2, it was originally known as the Chicom CQB, which is based on the real-life Chinese bullpup submachine gun QCW-05. The Chicom is a 3-round burst weapon, dealing 32 damage up close, dropping to 17 at longer ranges. This means it will be a 4 to 6 shot kill weapon if we deal with the base damage. However, if we look at the body part damage multipliers, here's where things get interesting. It deals 1.6 times damage to the head, 1.3 times to the entire body, and 0.9 times to the legs. Since nowhere it deals the base damage, so it is worthless talking about the base damage for this weapon, similar to the QXR. So for the rest of the video, we'll be taking the body damage as its base damage and proceed with our analysis. And since this is a submachine gun, you must try to avoid leg shots as much as possible, since they'll be reducing our shots to kill. Thus, our modified shots to kill, considering we hit anywhere but the legs, will be 3 to 5. Therefore, it is possible to achieve a 1-burst kill with this weapon up to the 2nd damage range, which is quite impressive. Headshots aren't really useful for this weapon apart from the initial damage range, where you can get a 2-shot kill by landing 2 consecutive headshots. And as mentioned earlier, you must try avoiding hitting the legs, and your best interest should lie on the center of mass of the body.
The rate of fire within each burst is high at 800 rounds per minute, with a moderate burst delay of 140 milliseconds. This means our body shot time to kill will be 150 milliseconds up to the 2nd damage range, which is highly competitive. However, if you miss a burst or you hit a leg shot, your time to kill rises up to 290 milliseconds, which is no longer competitive. Thus, it is highly punishing if you don't land your burst properly. But if you're able to land, then you'll be rewarded with one of the fastest time to kills in the entire game. And if you're lucky enough to land 2 consecutive headshots, your time to kill will now be just 75 milliseconds, which is extremely fast in this game. In fact, it is almost thrice as fast than the average reaction time of a typical human being. So if you're able to achieve this time to kill, nothing but one-shot weapons can stop you. Coming to its range profile, the 1-burst range after the buff now extends up to 16 meters, which is okay. However, it can be improved with specific attachments, which will be coming shortly. And if we compare the Chicom with other top-tier weapons, we see that it beats literally every other gun within its effective range. The only gun that theoretically beats it is the Odin, which kills just 5 milliseconds faster, and practically, you won't be noticing the difference at any scenario. It is also worth mentioning that you won't face any hit registration delay with the Chicom, as it is a hit scan.
The ADS bullet spread is extremely good, with the initial spread value at just 4. This is the 2nd highest in its category, just behind the Lapa. Its hipfire spread is also better than average, at least for the maximum value. Its hit flinch and bullet impact values are also better than average for an SMG. And for its recoil, similar to most other burst weapons, the Chicom recenters its recoil after each burst, which means you cannot control its recoil at all. And since there is a slight gap between the shots, it is recommended to lower it by equipping attachments which reduce your vertical recoil so that you don't miss your shots during a gunfight. Its aim down sight time is faster than average at just 200 milliseconds, and so for its sprint to fire time at 130 milliseconds. Its mobility stats are also better than average across the board. The magazine capacity is also above average at 39 rounds with 156 in reserve. It reloads in 1.24 seconds with an empty reload time of 1.18 seconds. Normally, I'd end the base stats here, but I decided to cover one last stat for all of the weapons, which is its material penetration. Since the Chicom is an SMG, it has low material penetration, dealing 47% damage through thin cover and dealing 0% damage above that. However, you can improve it with FMJ, but it is not recommended at all since it barely contributes anything to the weapon.
And with that, we've covered all the base stats of the weapon.
And since the Chicom does not feature any unique attachment, let us now see how to build this weapon efficiently. Our top priority for a burst weapon should be to maximize its one burst range, as well as reducing the kick between shots. For that reason, we're using the monolithic suppressor and the OWC marksman barrel for concealment, range, and recoil control. We have the YKM combat stock for a little bit faster ADS speed, and for even better recoil control, we have the rubberized grip tape and the operator foregrip. With this build, we have successfully improved both of our range profile as well as recoil control, which means now our one burst range becomes 24 meters, which is great. And comparing it with other top-tier options, the Chicom can now outperform almost every gun mentioned here if you can land those bursts efficiently. We do lose out on our mobility values, but since the base mobility of the Chicom is already much better, the slight decrease in those values here won't do much for the gun. But on the brighter side, the kick between shots are now very low, and so you won't feel any difficulty in hitting your shots up to its effective range.
As for an example class setup, for respawns, we have the FHJ-18 for taking down streaks. We have the perk Greed Red as our wild card, allowing us to carry 2 red perks, which we have Dauntless and Flak Jacket in this case. And for the other 2 perks, we have Quick Fix and Hardline. You may use Skulker if you want an improved strafe speed. You can also swap out Hardline for firepower support if you want. For the lethal equipment, we have a Molotov cocktail, and for the tactical, we have a trophy system. Operator skills and score streaks can be chosen as preference. For a search and destroy, I use a melee for rushing, although you may use a pistol if you want. The perks remain the same apart from using Dead Silence in the blue perk slot. We have a frag grenade as the lethal equipment and a smoke grenade as the tactical for blocking enemy lines of sight.
And with that, that is going to wrap it up on the gun guide for the Chicom submachine gun. As for my thoughts on it, the Chicom is the definition of high risk, high reward. It features amazing mobility and accuracy stats, and the range profile is also very nice after the buff. Statistically, this weapon is top tier, but the only drawback for the weapon is the weapon itself. Most people are not comfortable with burst weapons, and that's why they tend to neglect them. But if you have good aim, you're now dealing with one of the most lethal weapons in the game. Crosshair placement and trigger discipline are the 2 key factors that you need to master, especially for this weapon. I'd suggest you to give this weapon a go and see whether you're comfortable or not. Also, try to aim high, since leg shots are highly punishing. And of course, those were just my thoughts on the newly buffed Chicom. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys what you think of this weapon. Are you comfortable with the burst mechanism, or you'd rather be choosing the easy route of sticking to fully automatic weapons? Just let your thoughts in the comment section down below. As I'm recording this video, the patch notes for Season 9 already dropped, so I'll be making an analysis for that as soon as possible. I'll try to finish all the buffed weapons for this season before the next season drops. So if you have anything in mind, let me know which one you want me to cover next. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.